Insane, resulting in misery. Worse than COVID? If you believe the headlines, cycle lanes may destroy the very fabric of our society. But is there any truth to these claims? As our government begins to spend taxpayers' money on creating more cycling infrastructure, we've gone to the experts to find out how dedicated cycling space affects our towns and cities. Everyone hates being stuck in traffic. In the UK, we spend an average of 115 hours in congestion each year. That's almost 3 full-time working weeks lost per person. But are cycle lanes to blame for traffic congestion?
In the 1990s, there started to be a realisation that we tried to build our way out of congestion. We built more and more big roads, we built extra lanes, but somehow congestion was still there. Somehow there was still a problem. And transport planners started to talk about how if you create more space for driving, you get more driving. And that's pretty well accepted now.
The more space we make for cars, the more cars are on the road, and the worse congestion gets. So why not just build more roads?
In densely populated countries like England, there is enormous pressure to accommodate a growing population. And if you just think about it logically, you cannot carry on adding people to cities if all of those people bring with them more cars. You have to gradually find ways of providing other means for people to move around cities, and at the same time make sure that growing numbers of people in cities don't destroy the quality of life which attracts people to cities in the first place.
Cycling is important because it's a means of transport within cities which has a number of real advantages. One is it's very efficient. So giving a real live example of the efficiency, we can think of Blackfriars Bridge in London, where the cycle lane in rush hour takes something like 70% of the movement of vehicles across the bridge. In a 3.65 metre wide lane, you can get down about 1,000 vehicles in an hour maximum, and you will have an awful lot of problems at the junctions downstream. For cycles, you can have within a lane that's 3 to 4 metres wide between 3,000 and 5,000 cycles. So that means you can shift many more people in the same space.
Cycle lanes won't suddenly end traffic congestion, but they will help provide a safe, convenient and efficient option for people, using minimal road space to transport vastly more people than a car lane can. But if we build them, how can we be sure they'll be used?
In most of the UK, you still have to be quite a battle-hardened, risk-tolerant person to cycle, and that's a small minority of people. In studies, we find that people who are currently underrepresented in cycling, like women, like older people, have a particularly strong desire for separated, protected bike tracks like this one here. And the evidence is increasingly showing that if you create space for walking, space for cycling, you make it convenient, pleasant and easy, people will do it. There's been a study recently released over 100 European cities looking at the impact of building pop-up bike lanes, and there's a consistent effect across all those cities. If you build bike lanes, you get more people cycling, and the more bike lanes you build, the more cyclists you get.
People don't mind how they get from A to B, as long as it doesn't take too long and it's safe and convenient. So while building more roads brings more cars and more traffic congestion, building bike lanes unlocks greater mobility choices for everyone, and over time, more people will start cycling. Places like Brighton, Cambridge, Manchester, Leeds, Glasgow and London that have built protected cycle lanes have seen more and more people using them. But what about the impact on our high streets and local businesses?
Research in London on cycling and walking improvements reported by TfL has resulted in a retail spend uplift of 30%. Cyclists visit local shops more often. They tend to spend less each time they stop, but overall they spend more, say, in a period of a month. So that's good for retail. Local space can be improved and enhanced and more livable for businesses and for people using those businesses.
If that's what the experts say, what about business owners themselves? Richard runs a micropub in Enfield, which had bike lanes installed nearby in 2018.
When these lanes were proposed, there were a lot of predictions that the whole area would grind to a halt with gridlock and there'll be traffic jams everywhere. Really, we haven't really seen any of that at all. One of the things we've noticed is that quite a few people cycling past will just pull over and have a look, see what we're all about, maybe come back and maybe pop in. I think if you're cycling, you can stop impulsively and check things out like that. If you're driving, it tends to be a case of, oh, what was that behind me? And by then it's too late.
So, cycle infrastructure can help move people around more efficiently, increase accessibility, and support the local economy. But it's not just about transport. Getting more people cycling also has the potential to address one of the UK's biggest health crises and help support the NHS in the process.
More than a quarter of deaths occurring in the UK are caused by heart and circulatory disease. So it is a very big problem in the UK. Cycling is one of the simple ways of keeping active, which reduces our risk of having heart and circulatory disease. It can help us to manage our weight, and in general, it can improve our mental and well-being as well. Now more than ever, it is absolutely vital that if you do have heart and circulatory disease, you do look after your heart health.
Cycling infrastructure can also help reduce our exposure to another major source of disease.
So air pollution is associated with a lot of different diseases. These include heart disease, stroke, lung disease, cognitive decline, and also respiratory infections. It's a serious problem, and current estimates put us at about 40,000 premature deaths per year. In terms of the pollution that we have control over, our number one source is traffic. Being inside a vehicle does not keep you protected from air pollution. Some air pollutants are showing considerably higher in a car, in traffic, than alongside the road at the same time. And we know that getting people walking, cycling, taking public transport helps reduce those car journeys. Providing infrastructure that gives more people the feeling of safety and access to these active forms of transport is really, really important.
So even if you don't cycle yourself, cycle lanes could still help reduce congestion on your commute, drive customers to your local pub or cafe, help the country and your community stay healthy, and help your friends, family and loved ones get around safely, whether they're driving or cycling. You might even find in time that they help you get cycling too.